We're ready to continue on with Clementine, and we're in chapter 5. As soon as I got home, I started watching for Margaret's feet. From my kitchen window, I can see the sidewalk in front of the lobby doors. Since I have memorized all the shoes of everybody who lives in our building, I always know who's coming in or going out. I might be a detective when I grow up. I waited and waited and waited, which is the hardest thing in the world, especially when you have a hot head, which I did, because my mother made me wear my winter hat so she didn't have to look at my chopped off hair. Finally, I saw Margaret's purple sneakers, and I ran up to meet her in the lobby. "Let me see!" Margaret pulled her lips out of the way so I could see all of her teeth. Margaret's mouth was the most beautiful place I have ever seen. It was even more beautiful than Disneyland, Sleeping Beauty's castle, which I'm going to visit when I am 10. Every tooth had its own sparkly silver bracelet, and there were little blue bits sprinkled around like tiny presents. "They're rubber bands," Margaret said. "Every month I'll go in and get them changed, and they'll give me different colors, whatever I want." That gave me such a good idea. I pulled off my hat to show Margaret that she wasn't the only one, and that made her happy. Then I told her my good idea. "You can pick the color of my new hair. Whatever color you want. You can draw it on my head." That made her even happier. "Those markers are still in my room. Let's go," she said. "Is your mother still mad?" I asked. "Yep, but she's going to a movie with Alan this afternoon." Alan is Margaret's mother's special friend, which is the grown-up's word for boyfriend. So we went up to her apartment. Mitchell was there watching TV. When he saw my hair, he grabbed his chest and fell off the couch, pretending to have a heart attack. Then he smacked his forehead and said, "You guys are unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable." Even though he is older and doesn't have to be so nice to us, I think he likes me. Margaret glared at him. Then she jabbed her elbow into my side, and so I glared at him too, even though I didn't know why we were doing that. I'm not so sure Margaret is the easy one in that family. She dragged me into her room. "I can't wait for summer," she growled. "My mother's finally going to get rid of him." "You mean baseball camp? He wants to go, Margaret? That's not getting rid of someone." Margaret gave me her "I'm in a 4th grade and you're not" look. "Goodbye and good riddance," she muttered. Then she got out my mother's markers. They were all still there and they looked exactly the same, with none of the caps chewed up. I don't know how Margaret does that. She picked a bright green one and colored my hair, and then drew some curls on my forehead and neck. "No pointy lines," I reminded her, "just round ones." Thinking about pointing lines made me wonder about Margaret's bracelets again. How do they feel? I bet they're full of pointy parts. "Nope, they feel like heaven," Margaret said. "No pointy parts at all. They're as soft as rabbit ears, baby rabbit ears. Too bad you can't have them." She kept her lips stretched out of the way to show me her teeth the whole time she talked, so it was kind of hard to understand her, but I did. "I'm getting them too," I said, "next week." Then I pulled my hat back on and ran down to my apartment quick to make this be a non-lie. "I need bracelets on my teeth," I told my mom. "They're beautiful and they feel wonderful." "First of all," my mother said, "they don't feel wonderful. Not in the beginning anyway. Margaret's mother stopped in earlier asking if we had any medicine left over from when your brother was teething. She told me Margaret cried all the way home." That Margaret. "Well, I still want them next week." "And second of all, you don't need them. Your teeth are straight enough," which is the most unfair thing I have ever heard. "I can feel them bending," I said, and suddenly I could. "So we'd better make that appointment." Then, before my mom could get to the third of all, which is usually the worst one, we heard my brother waking up from his nap. "I'm coming, Radish," I called to him. "Go for a walk?" he asked when I came into his room. "You're lucky to have me for a big sister," I told him. I have to remind him of this every day because he forgets. We went into the kitchen and I got out the walk. Nobody invented this trick for me when I was little. Then he climbed into the walk and grabbed the handles and I gave him a really good spin. He went whirling around, bumping into the cabinets, and then he got out and walked wobbly until he fell over, which he thinks is the funniest thing in the world. "Again!" he yelled. But I didn't spin him again because he throws up on the second ride and somebody has to clean it up, which is N-O-T, not me. This is called being responsible. He came over to me and pulled off my hat and pointed to my head. "Green?" And I thought about something. First, Margaret had straight brown hair and we didn't look alike. Then we cut it off and colored it red, so we sort of did. Then she got bracelets on her teeth, which meant we didn't look alike. But soon her teeth would be straight, and we would. Except now I had a green head. What if we never looked alike? What if we did? Chapter 6. Thursday morning, I woke up with a spectacular full idea. I am lucky that way. Spectacular full ideas are always springing up in my brain. The secret thing I know about ideas is that once they sprung into your head, you have to grab them fast or else they get bored and bounce away. So I called Margaret and I told her I had a good surprise for her and we needed to sit in the back seat of the bus. It is unfair that sometimes even spectacular full ideas don't work out. It is also unfair that bus drivers are allowed to send you to the principal's office. "It's not my fault," I explained to Principal Rice before she could say any of those "Clementine, why did yous?" "Margaret has very slippery head skin." Mrs. Rice fell into her chair hard. She clapped her hands over her ears and squeezed like her brains were trying to jump out. Part of me wanted to see something like that, but most of me said, "Not today, thanks." "Margaret's slippery head skin is not the problem," she said. "The problem is that you tried to glue your own hair onto Margaret's head. You've been having lots of problems this week. First, you cut off Margaret's hair. Then, you colored her hair. Yesterday, you cut off your own hair and colored your own head. And today, this, Clementine? What is going on between you and Margaret?" "How do you spell nitrogen?" I asked Mrs. Rice. Sometimes grown-ups get distracted if you ask them school things. But Mrs. Rice just spelled nitrogen for me and went right back to the Margaret thing. "Are you angry with her?" "No," I said. "Okay, fine," I yelled it. But I didn't know I was going to yell it, and I couldn't stop my yelling voice. "Here is how good of a friend I am to Margaret. I'm not even mad at her for the last week at my party, even though she breathed on the M&M rocks in the back of the dump truck, which was the best part of my cake. And then she sat on my sparkle glitter paint set, which was the best present, and said it was an accident, but I don't think so. And now she's trying to look like me, except she gets to have bracelets and I don't." "Oh," said Principal Rice, and then she didn't say anything at all, just looked at me, which is the worst thing of all that can happen to you in the principal's office. I sat there swinging my legs back and forth like crazy for 300 hours. And then I said, "Can I be done here now?" And she said, "Okay, fine." Margaret's mother let her come over to play after school. "Does this mean she's all done being mad at me?" I asked. "No, she doesn't think there's anything left for you to do to my head. Besides, she says I'm 9 years old and I should be able to protect my own head." Then I told her some good news. I had just thought up. "I am 9 years old too." "No, you're not. You're 8, she said. "I came to your birthday last week," which I remembered. "No, I explained. I was 8 at my party. 9 comes after 8, and it is after my party, so now I'm 9, and that means we're the same age. That's ridiculous, yelled Margaret. I'm almost 10, and you're 8. You are not 9. She tried to flip her hair, which didn't work so well without actual hair, and her head got even redder under the scrubbed-off marker. Yes, I am, I told her. I'm in the gifted class for math, so I understand numbers. Then Margaret left and slammed my door. That Margaret, after all I've done for her, helping her fix her stupid hair. I followed her into the lobby and yelled, You shouldn't have breathed on my cake and sat on my present, and I don't want you to look like me. But she didn't even turn around. So now I had nobody to play with for the rest of my life. But I didn't care because I was 9. Or maybe I was just after 8. Okay, fine. But after 8 reminded me that I hadn't checked yet that day to see if I'd started growing a beard. So I ran to the bathroom. While I was there, I accidentally climbed on the toilet seat to look out the window into the side alley to see Margaret, if Margaret went out there. I didn't see her, but I didn't care, especially when I looked in the mirror and I saw that I had started growing a nice brown beard on one cheek. Hey, Bill! I yelled. Bill is my dad's, for the other people name. Where's your razor? Dad came skidding into the bathroom so fast I thought his feet might be on fire, but they weren't. I showed him my beard. Dad squinted and sniffed my cheek. That's not a beard, Clementine, he sighed. That's chocolate frosting. As a matter of fact, that smells exactly like the kind of chocolate frosting that your mother put on the cake she made for her book club, which nobody was supposed to touch. Now, isn't that a coincidence? Okay, fine. I wiped off the frosting. Clementine, my dad said, you know girls don't grow beards. What about that amazing bearded lady at the circus? What about that, huh? Clementine, I've told you 100 times, you can't grow a beard. So Rutabaga gets to have one like yours someday, down to his knees if he wants, and I don't? That's not fair, which I have told him 100 times. First of all, your brother's name isn't Rutabaga, Dad said. Second of all, well, never mind. Maybe today isn't the time to talk about what's fair. My dad and I looked at the mad mirror face with the green marked top for a long time. I am sure having a lot of trouble with hair these days, I whispered. I know, sport, Dad said. Then he hugged me. Usually this squeezes the mad right out of me, but that time it just mixed it up with the feeling sad and lucky, which was extremely confusing. Hey, my dad said, have you got a little time to spare? I squint-eyed him. It depended. The Great Pigeon War, he said. It's time for evening maneuvers. I could use someone like you on the front lines tonight, someone with fresh ideas. I'm running a little low on them myself. I said okay, and my dad and I put on our raincoats and went outside. First, he got out the hose, which he calls the heavy artillery. Then he sprayed off the front steps and the sidewalk in front of the lobby doors. Last, he pointed the hose at the pigeons covering the ledges and windowsills and balconies and roofs at the front of the building. He sprayed them until they all flew away. That's the best part, because when 1,000,000 pigeons take off at the same time right above you, you can feel their wing beats exploding inside you like fireworks. My dad handed me the hose. Want to clean the lion? Which of course I did. The carved line above the front door has really pointy teeth, but I'm not afraid of him because he's using those teeth to protect us. Plus, he's just stone. I sprayed him with the hose until he was all shiny in the streetlights. You know, Dad, I pointed out, it's not really the pigeons you're at war with. The pigeons aren't the enemy. What are you talking about? he asked. It's my job to keep the building looking nice, especially the entrance. You've seen what those pigeons do. Exactly, I said. The pigeons are fine. It's their mess you hate. Well, okay, that's true, my dad said. I'm actually at war with the pigeon splat. You got any ideas how to get rid of pigeon splat without getting rid of the pigeons? How about diapers? I suggested. We could wait until all the pigeons are asleep, then sneak up and put little diapers on them. Brilliant! My dad cried. See, that's what I'm talking about. I can always count on you to see things from a new angle. I'm going to make you captain. You made me a captain last week for the idea about charging them rent, I reminded him. You can be sergeant then, he promised. Never mind, I said. Who would change all those diapers every day? Not me. Dad said. Excellent point. Back to the drawing board, sport. Then we just sat there together watching the pigeons flock back to our building for the night. We listened to them cooing above us, sounding like a million old ladies with secrets. What are we going to do? I asked. I mean, for real.